You think your greatest enemy is the world outside you. You blame people who left, opportunities that disappeared, moments you wish you could relive. You spend years believing life happened to you. The terrifying part isn't that your brain makes mistakes. It's that it makes those mistakes feel absolutely certain. Certainty is the disguise every illusion wears. That's why people spend decades trapped inside invisible prisons with doors that were never locked. They aren't escaping because they can't. They're staying because their own mind convinced them there was nowhere else to go. Once you understand how your brain lies, you'll realize your biggest limitation was never reality. It was the story reality was filtered through. The first lie your brain tells is that whatever you feel must be true. Fear feels like danger. Loneliness feels like your mind never announces these feelings as guesses. If your heart races before entering a room, your brain immediately begins searching for reasons why everyone inside must already dislike you. If someone walks away without explanation, your brain doesn't admit it. Instead, it creates a complete narrative where you're the reason they disappeared. Feelings become facts, and facts become identity. Before long, you stop saying, "I feel unwanted." You begin saying, "I am unwanted." A temporary emotion quietly transforms into. The strange thing is that your brain hates uncertainty more than being wrong. An unanswered question creates tension, and tension consumes. So your mind fills every blank with whatever explanation arrives first. If someone grows distant, it invents betrayal. If success takes longer than expected, it invents failure. If silence enters your life, it invents abandonment. The truth may simply be unknown, but your brain refuses to leave empty spaces. It paints over uncertainty with stories because stories feel safer than mystery. Most people never notice they're living inside assumptions because assumptions sound exactly like memories. That's why regret becomes so dangerous. Your brain edits. You don't remember events as they happened. You remember the last version you created. Every replay changes the original. The embarrassing conversation becomes more humiliating. The relationship becomes either perfect or completely toxic. The opportunity becomes the one chance that would have changed everything. Your memories slowly stop reflecting reality and begin reflecting your current emotional state. The past isn't frozen. It's rewritten every time you look at it, and your brain quietly removes every detail that contradicts the story it's trying to protect. Pain has a remarkable ability to become selective. When someone hurts you, your mind starts collecting evidence that confirms people are dangerous. Suddenly, every betrayal stands out while every act of kindness disappears into the background. You begin seeing patterns that were never there. The brain calls this protection. It believes repeating the lesson will prevent future pain. But eventually protection becomes distortion. Instead of preparing you for reality, it prepares you for disappointment. You walk into every new experience expecting history to repeat itself, and your expectations quietly influence the outcome in ways you never notice. The cruelest lies are often the quietest ones. They don't sound dramatic. They sound reasonable. They whisper that you're just being realistic. They convince you that lowering expectations is wisdom, that emotional distance is maturity, that avoiding risk is intelligence. Little by little, your world shrinks. Not because reality became smaller, but because your brain decided every unknown path contained unnecessary danger. Safety begins replacing possibility until your life feels predictable enough to survive but too empty to truly experience. Your brain also confuses familiarity with truth. This is why painful patterns become addictive. If chaos feels familiar, peace feels suspicious. If criticism feels normal, kindness feels manipulative. The mind isn't searching for happiness nearly as often as it's searching for recognition. It chooses what feels known over what feels healthy. That's why people repeatedly return to situations they promised themselves they'd never enter again. They're not chasing pain. They're chasing familiarity. Their nervous system mistakes recognition for belonging. Notice how quickly your mind creates enemies inside your own future. Before anything happens, it imagines every possible failure in astonishing detail. It predicts embarrassment before conversations begin. It predicts rejection before anyone speaks. It predicts loss before anything exists to lose. These predictions aren't warnings. They're rehearsals. Your brain believes imagining pain today will soften pain tomorrow. Instead, it steals tomorrow before it even arrives. You suffer twice, once in imagination and once in reality, if reality ever becomes painful at all. What's fascinating is that your brain almost never remembers its failed predictions. Think about how many disasters you expected that never happened. How many sleepless nights were wasted on outcomes that vanished by morning. Your mind doesn't keep a record of those mistakes because admitting them would weaken its authority. It remembers the few predictions that came true while quietly deleting thousands that didn't. This creates the illusion that your fear is incredibly accurate when, in reality, it's simply unforgettable whenever it happens to be correct. Identity might be the greatest illusion your brain ever creates. It convinces you that you're the same person you were years ago because continuity feels comforting. But look closely. Your opinions changed. Your fears changed. Your dreams changed. Even the memories you defend have been rewritten countless times. Yet your brain insists there's a solid, permanent self hidden underneath it all. Maybe there isn't. Maybe identity is less like a statue and more like smoke, constantly changing shape while pretending to remain the same. This explains why letting go feels impossible. Every attachment becomes part of the story your brain tells about who you are. Losing a person isn't only losing them. It's losing the version of yourself that existed beside them. Losing a dream isn't only accepting failure. It's watching an identity disappear. The pain isn't always about what left. It's about the collapse of the internal narrative your brain spent years constructing. When the story breaks, your mind mistakes the collapse of meaning for the collapse of life itself. Then comes comparison, another masterpiece of deception. Your brain compares your private emotions to everyone else's public certainty. You witness confidence but never insecurity. You see achievement but never confusion. The comparison is fundamentally dishonest, yet your brain treats it as objective evidence that everyone else has figured something out you somehow missed. It ignores the invisible struggles hidden behind every composed face because invisible evidence cannot compete with visible conclusions. Perhaps the most dangerous lie is the belief that thinking more will eventually produce control. So you analyze every conversation, every decision, every possibility. You mistake endless reflection for progress. But your brain has no finish line for overthinking. Every answer creates 3 new questions. Every explanation reveals another uncertainty. It's like trying to escape quicksand by digging deeper. The harder you search for absolute certainty, the more uncertainty you create. The mind becomes trapped inside itself, chasing solutions that disappear the moment they're touched. There comes a moment, however, when something unusual happens. A crack appears in the illusion. Maybe it's a memory that suddenly feels different than before. Maybe it's realizing a fear never arrived despite years of expecting it. Maybe it's recognizing that the harsh voice inside your head speaks with incredible confidence but very little evidence. That moment is unsettling because your entire perception begins shifting. If your brain could lie about this, what else has it been inventing? Which beliefs were discovered, and which were merely repeated until they felt permanent? The answer is uncomfortable because it reaches into every corner of your life. Some of your strongest convictions were inherited, not chosen. Some of your deepest fears belong to experiences that ended years ago. Some of your limitations were rehearsed so often they eventually felt like physical laws. Your brain isn't an objective observer recording reality. It's a storyteller obsessed with survival. Survival values certainty over truth, repetition over accuracy, and familiarity over freedom. That storyteller kept you alive, but it also convinced you to mistake comfort for reality. Imagine looking at your entire life through glass that has been quietly changing color since childhood. Every disappointment appears darker than it truly was. Every possibility appears smaller than it actually is. Every uncertainty appears more dangerous than reality ever intended. You never questioned the glass because you believed it was your own eyes. That's how convincing the mind becomes. The greatest illusion isn't the lie itself. It's forgetting that you're listening to an interpretation instead of the truth. Most people will never discover this. They will continue arguing with reality while defending the stories their brains invented decades earlier. They'll insist the world is exactly as they perceive it, never realizing perception has been editing every scene before consciousness even notices. Their prison will remain invisible because invisible prisons feel like freedom. They won't recognize the walls because the walls sound like their own thoughts. And maybe that's the final lie your brain tells, the belief that you are your thoughts simply because you hear them first. But thoughts arrive uninvited. Memories change without permission. Emotions appear before explanations exist. Your mind generates endless stories, yet not every story deserves belief. Somewhere beneath the noise, beneath the predictions, beneath the rehearsed fears and rewritten memories, reality continues without asking your brain for permission. One day you'll remember a moment from your life with absolute certainty, only to discover it never happened the way you believed. You will realize that certainty was never proof. It was only a feeling. And in that unsettling realization, you'll understand something that changes everything. The most convincing liar you will ever meet doesn't live in the world outside you. It has been narrating your life from the very beginning.